Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Explain Maths. Now in this video I am going to start with a new chapter which is direct and inverse proportions. And in this video I will be covering the try these questions given in page 132 of the NCERT textbook, as well as I will solve few example sums question. So let's begin the class. Now cost of 2 pens is given as 20 rupees. Okay, and when I purchase 4 pens I have paid 40 rupees to the shopkeeper. So here if you see, when the number of pens have increased from 2 pens to 4 pens, the cost also increased. Isn't it? 20 rupees, it increased to 40 rupees. So can I say both are directly related to each other? Number of pens and their cost are directly related, right? Because as the number of pens increased, their cost also increased, isn't it? Now let's see the next scenario. Now I went to a shop to purchase oranges and the cost of 4 kg of oranges is 320 rupees. And one of my friends, she purchased 2 kg of oranges and she has paid 160 rupees. So here if you can see, when the quantity of oranges decreased, the cost also decreased, isn't it? So here also I can say quantity of oranges and their cost are directly related to each other, because when one is decreasing, other is also decreasing. So again I can say they are directly related to each other. So in both the cases we have seen, when the number of quantities are increasing, the cost is also increasing. When the number of quantities are decreasing, the cost is also decreasing. So in both the scenario, they are directly related to each other. Now let's tabulate these data. So here I have arranged the data in the table form and I have assumed number of pens as X and their cost as Y. So when I purchase 2 pens, I have paid 20 rupees. When I purchase 4 pens, I have paid 40 rupees. And we have seen also the number of pens and the cost are directly related to each other, because as the number of pens are increasing, their cost is also increasing. Now let's find the ratio of number of pens with respect to the cost. So first one, if you see, the ratio of 2 by 20, when I reduce it, is 2 times 1, 2 times 10. So this is 1 by 10. And when I find the ratio of 4 by 40, this is also 1 by 10. And we know that when two ratios are equal, we call it as they are in proportion. So already we have seen they are directly related to each other. Now as both the ratios are equal, so we are calling it as they are in proportion. So from here we can say that they are in direct proportion, because as X is increasing, Y is also increasing. Moreover, their ratios are also equal. So they are in direct proportion. Now see the next scenario. Weight of oranges I have assumed as X and their cost as Y. So here I have seen when the weight of oranges were decreasing, their cost also decreased, isn't it? Now let's find the ratio of the weight of oranges with respect to the cost. So when I am finding the ratio of 4 and 320, so I am reducing it. 4 times 1, 4 times 80. So here is 1 by 80. Same way, if I find the ratio of 2 by 160, this is also 2 times 1 and 2 times 80. Here also my ratio is 1 by 80. And again we can say that when two ratios are equal, they are in proportion, isn't it? So when X is decreasing, my Y is also decreasing and their ratios are equal. So they are in proportion also. So this is also a case of direct proportion. So in direct proportion, when one is increasing, the other will also increase. When one is decreasing, the other will also decrease, isn't it? And they are directly related to each other. So if you see in both the scenarios, my ratios were constant, isn't it? In the first case, I got 1 by 10, second case also 1 by 10. In the second scenario, first ratio was 1 by 80, second is also 1 by 80. So from here, we can write that X by Y is a constant. The ratio of X and Y is a constant, K. And when I cross multiply, it is X equal to K times Y. Okay. Now, if I am assuming here I have taken only two data. Now, if I'm assuming here, if it is my X as X1, X2, X3, and so on, same as cost as Y1, Y2, Y3, and so on. So from here, we can write all the ratios will be equal, isn't it? It means X1 by Y1, X2 by Y2, X3 by Y3, they all will be a constant, which is K. Now, so from here we have seen that X and Y are directly proportional to each other, right? So we can write it as x is directly proportional to y, and this is the symbol of proportionality. So from in the first case, we can write number of pens is directly proportional to cost of pens, and second case, weight of oranges is directly proportional to cost of oranges. So now I'm going to solve the try these questions given in your book in the page 132. So this is the first question. Observe the following tables and find if x and y are directly proportional. And just now we have seen if x and y are directly proportional to each other, then their ratio will be constant. Okay, for all the values of x and for all the values of y, if you find the ratio of x and y, it should come as constant. Then only we can say they are directly proportional to each other. So let's find the ratio one by one. So in the first case, it is 20 by 40. And when I found the ratio over here, so let's reduce it. So we all know that 20 and 40 both comes in 20 tables, or 20 times 1, 20 times 2. Now let's see the second case. Again here 17 times 1, 17 times 2. Here 14 times 1, 14 times 2. 11 times 1, 11 times 2. 8 times 1 and 8 times 2. 5 times 1 and 5 times 2. And here 2 times 1 and 2 times 2. So in all the cases we have seen my ratio is same, isn't it? In all the cases it is 1 by 2. So from here we can say that all the ratios are same. So x and y are directly proportional. Now next question. Now here again you have to see whether they are in directly proportional to each other or not. So again I have to find the ratio of x and y for all the cases. So first one, it is 6 by 4. So it is 2 table, 2 3s are 6, 2 2s are 4. So in the first case, my ratio is 3 by 2. Now second case, 2 5s are 10, 2 4s are 8, then 2 7s are 14, 2 6s are 12, 2 9s are 18, 2 8s are 16. Here 2 times 11, 2 times 10, 2 times 13, 2 times 12, 2 times 15, 2 times 14. So here if you have seen in all the cases ratios are not same, isn't it? They all are different. So we can say x and y are not directly proportional to each other. So here also we have see whether x and y are directly proportional to each other or not. So again we have to find the ratio in each case. So first of all ratio of 5 and 15. So if I'm going to reduce it, it is 5 times 1, 5 times 3. Second one 8 times 1, 8 times 3. Then 12 times 1, 12 times 3. 15 times 1 and 15 times 4 is 16. 18 times 1 and 18 times 4 is 72. 20 times 1 and 20 times 5. So here you have seen in some of the cases ratios are same. In some of the cases it is not same, right? So overall we can say all the ratios are not same. So they are not in a directly proportional. Okay. Now question number 2. Principal is given as 1000 rupees. Rate is 8% per annum. Fill in the following table and find which type of interest, simple or compound, changes in direct proportion with the time period. So you have to check whether interest is direct proportion with time period in simple interest or in compound interest. Now I am going to find it out one by one. So first I am going to find for simple interest, right? So principal is given as 1000, rate is given as 8%. Now first I'm going to find for time period for 1 year. So we all know that simple interest formula is P into R into T by 100. So let's put all the values over here. So my principal is 1000, rate is 8, time is 1 divided by 100. So if I'm going to reduce it, I'll cancel out 2 zeros. I'm left with 80 rupees. So my simple interest for first case is 80 rupees. Now let's find for 2 years. So here again it will be 1000 into 8 into 2 by 100. Again I'm going to reduce these 2 zeros. 8 twos are 16. 16 into 10 is 160 rupees. Now let's see for the third case. So here it is 1000 into 8 into 3 by 100, and I'm going to reduce it. 8 threes are 24 and 24 into 10 is 240 rupees. So now I'm going to put all the values over here in the table. So for first year, I got simple interest as 80 rupees. Second year, it is 160 rupees. And for the third year, I got it as 240 rupees. So now I'm going to find the ratio of simple interest with respect to the time period. So it is 80 by 1, okay, which is 80 only. Here it is 160 by 2. So this is also 80 by 1. Here also it is 80 by 1 is same as it is. Next it is 240 by 3. This is also 80 by 1. So if you see here, my ratio is constant in all the three cases here, isn't it? So from here I can say that simple interest is directly proportional with the time period, isn't it? So now I am going to check whether compound interest is in directly proportional with respect to the time period or not. So again, principal is 1000 rupees, rate is 8%, time is given as 1 year. So to find compound interest, first we have to find the amount. And this is the amount formula, which is P into 1 plus R by 100 whole N, where R is the rate and this N is the time period. So let's put all the values over here. So from here, the value of principal is 1000, 1 plus 8 by 100 whole. N is 1, so I'm not going to write 1 here. Now 4 table, 4 2s are 8, 4 times 25. And if you take LCM, it will become 1000 into 25 plus 2, 27 by 25. And if you reduce it, 25 times 40 is 1000. And 40 into 27 will give you 1080 rupees. Okay, now next you have to find the compound interest. Compound interest is amount minus principal. So it is 1080 rupees minus 1000 rupees. So from here you will get your compound interest as 80 rupees. So I'm going to put the value in the table, which is 80 rupees. Now next find for time period of 2 years. So again amount formula is this. If I'm going to put all the values, it is 1000 into 1 plus 8 by 100 whole to the power 2. Now 4 2s are 8, 4 times 25. So here it will become 1000 into 25 plus 2 is 27 by 25. As the power is 2, you have to write it 2 times, isn't it? Now if you reduce it, it is 25 times 40. Again 5 times 5. 5 8s are 40. And if you are going to multiply and divide by 5, you are going to get the value as 1166.40. Now next you have to find the compound interest, which is again amount minus principal. So it is 1166.40 minus 1000 rupees. So from here you will get 166.40 rupees. So for the second column I am going to write it as 166.40. Now let's see for time period 3 years. So again, if I'm going to put all the values, principal is 1000. Again 1 plus 8 by 100 whole cube. And if you reduce it, it is 4 times 2, 4 times 25. And from here you can write 1000 into 27 by 25 into 27 by 25 into 27 by 25. And if you are going to solve it, you are going to get the value as 1259.712. And again find the compound interest, which is amount minus principal. So it will give you 1259.712 minus 1000, as principal is 1000, and you will get 259.712 rupees. So now here you have to put the value 259.712. This is your compound interest. Now next step is you have to find the ratio. So here 80 by 1, it will remain same only. And if you do 166.40 by 2, here you are going to get as 83.20. And in this case 259.712 divided by 3, if you do it, you will get 86.57 and so on. So here if you see in all the three cases, the ratios are not constant, isn't it? They are different. So from here we can write that the compound interest is not directly proportional with respect to the time period. Okay. Now this is the example question. An electric pole 14 meters high casts a shadow of 10 meters. Find the height of a tree that casts a shadow of 15 meters under similar conditions. So here if you see, if the height of the pole is more, obviously their shadow will also be of, the length of the shadow will also be more. So from here we can say that this is a case of direct proportion, because as the height of the pole is increasing, the length of the shadow is also increasing. And we have to find the height of the tree when they cast a shadow of 15 meters under the similar condition. So we'll assume let the height of the tree be x. And if I'm going to put it in the table, so from here we can see that height of the object is in the first case is 14 meter and the shadow length is 10. I have assumed the height of the tree when it casts a shadow of 15 meter as x. And as the height of the object will increase, the length of its shadow will also be increased. So this is a case of direct proportion. And we know that in a direct proportion, the ratio will be same, right? So ratio of height with respect to length of the shadow will be same in both the cases. So from here we can write 14 by 10 is equal to x by 15. And when I do cross multiplication, I will get 10 into x is equal to 14 into 15. And when I am transposing 10 to the other side, so it will be 14 into 15 by 10. And let's reduce it. 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 3 is 15, 2 times 1, 2 times 7. So 7 into 3, 21 meters. Okay. So here we have seen the height of the tree will be 21 meters. So question number 2, if the weight of 12 sheets of thick paper is 40 gram, how many sheets of the same paper would weigh 2.5 kilograms? So here in this scenario, if you increase the number of sheets, so obviously their weight will also increase. So I can say this is a case of direct proportion. And in the first statement, if you can see, the weight of 12 sheets is given in 40 grams and they have asked how many sheets of the same paper would weigh 2.5 kilograms. So one weight is given in gram, another is given in kilograms. So let's convert 2.5 kilogram in grams. So 2.5 kilogram is 2.5 kg, and to convert kg to gram, you have to multiply by 1000. So it is 2500 gram. So now let the number of sheets be x. So we can know that as the number of sheets will increase, their weight will also increase. So they are in direct proportion. And we know that in a direct proportion, their ratios will be same. They are constant, right? So from here, I can write 12 by 40 is equal to x by 2500. And if I'm going to cross multiply it, I will get 40 into x is equal to 2500 into 12. And now I'm going to transpose 40 to the other side. So it will be 2500 into 12 divided by 40. So 0 I can reduce it. 4 times 3 and 240 into 3 will give me 750. So the number of sheets will be 750. Now question number 3. A train is moving at a uniform speed of 75 km per hour. And first you have to find how far will it travel in 20 minutes, and then you have to find the time required to cover a distance of 250 km. So now first it is given the speed is uniform. So what is the meaning of this speed is uniform? It means throughout the journey there will not be any change in the speed. There will not be any increase or decrease in the speed. It will remain same as 75 km per hour. So this speed is given as 75 km per hour. It means in 1 hour the train will cover a distance of 75 km. 1 hour means in 60 minutes. In 60 minutes train will cover a distance of 75 km, and you have to find how far will it go in 20 minutes. So I'll assume let the distance covered in 20 minutes be x, and as I have told, in 1 hour distance traveled is 75 km and 1 hour means 60 minutes. You have to find how much distance it will cover in 20 minutes. And we know that since the speed is uniform, so the distance covered will be directly proportional to time, isn't it? If they have to cover more distance, obviously they will take more time. So they are directly proportional to each other, and when they are directly proportional to each other, their ratio will be same, isn't it? So 75 by 60 will be equal to x by 20. Now cross multiply, 60 into x is equal to 20 into 75. And again I can write x equal to 20 into 75 by 60. So 20 times 1, 20 times 3. So 75 by 3 will give you 25 kilometer. Okay. So we can say that the train will cover a distance of 25 kilometer in 20 minutes. Now let's see the second part. Now in the second part it says find the time required to cover a distance of 250 km, and already we know that the speed of the train is 75 km per hour. It means in 1 hour the train is covering a distance of 75 km, and you have to find how much time it will take to cover a distance of 250 km. So we'll assume the time taken to cover a distance of 250 km be y, and we already know that as the speed is uniform, so the distance covered will be directly proportional to time, isn't it? So I have written in 1 hour 60 minutes, the distance covered is 75. You have to find how much time it will take to cover a distance of 250 kilometer, right? So again, as they are in directly proportional to each other, so their ratio will be equal. So I will write from here 75 by 60 will be equal to 250 by y, and I'm going to cross multiply. So 75 into y will be equal to 250 into 60, and y will be equal to 250 into 60 divided by 75. So let's reduce it. So 3 table, 3 times 20, 3 times 25, and then 25 times 1, 25 times 10. So from here I am going to get 200 minutes, isn't it? So the train will take 200 minutes to cover a distance of 250 kilometer. If you want, you can write the answer in hours also. So it will be 3 hours. So 3 hours means 3 into 60, 180 minutes. But here is 200, it means 20 more minutes. So it will take 3 hours 20 minutes to cover a distance of 250 kilometer. So that's all for today's class, and if you like my content, please subscribe my channel and share with your friends also. So thank you.